I've never played a game in the walking simulator genre before, or in this case, a swimming simulator. They just never really seemed like my type of game, because if I wanted to experience a story, I would just watch a movie. Everyone has those types of gaming genres that just doesn't appeal to them for whatever reason, and you know what they are. I guess the whole point of a walking sim game is that by interacting with the world firsthand, you're supposed to be more drawn in than if you were to say watch a movie, but when I play games it's because I want to be actively engaged with gameplay mechanics, and just moving through an environment doesn't sound super fun. I figured I would play Abzû since it only takes about 2 hours to beat and the visuals were super pretty, so even if I didn't like it, it would be short and nice to look at. I'm going to find out if games in the walking simulator genre are fun to play by traditional gameplay standards, coming at the genre from an outsider's point of view. Obviously there are people who like these games and think they're fun, but are they fun to people who don't think they would like the genre to begin with?
Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like
walking sims.
All right, you're great.
Filthy casual.
I did a similar thing in my very first video called What is the Appeal of Looter Shooters, and I actually changed my mind about the genre entirely. I'm definitely open when it comes to changing my mind about a game genre, but let's see if walking sims will have the same effect. You play as this faceless black person in a wetsuit who never says anything. Is Abzû racist? You don't know why you are where you are or what you're supposed to do other than to go forward and follow interesting looking shiny things to interact with. I was feeling like I wasn't going to like the game at all at first because it seemed really slow and there's not a lot of movement options or things to do other than swimming. It tries to play with your emotions right off the bat by giving you this robot companion who ends up dying just a minute later, but I wasn't given a reason to be attached to it, unlike the companion cube from Portal. Plus the game gives you a new robot almost every time you enter a new area, so there's no real reason to get attached to just one of them. The robots are useful though. They can open new areas and help light the way in darker parts of the ocean. As for gameplay, the only mechanics in Abzû are swimming faster, grabbing onto a fish to swim even faster, and an interact button to call out to your robot or interact with things in the environment. All things that aren't very fun by traditional gameplay standards and are solely there to move the game forward. Side note, but what is this weird ball ability? Like, what is that? Needless to say, the game's gameplay mechanics on their own aren't very fun, so it relies on everything else to help pick up the slack. I was really opposed to the game at first, but the scene that helped change my mind about this game was when I entered this underwater current where I was being pushed along with all these fish to a swelling soundtrack. By my standards, this should have been my least favorite section, since you can just sit there and press nothing on your controller and still get through the area. But there was something about the visuals, atmosphere, and soundtrack that made it engaging despite having no inputs from me. If you get the opportunity, definitely play this game with headphones. The music heightens so much of what you're doing, which is no surprise since the composer was the same guy who made the music for Journey. If I played this game without sound, I know the experience would have been a lot worse. There's something really satisfying about the sense of discovery you get when you enter a new area and see all the new fish, colors, atmosphere, and wildlife. It was similar to the feeling of discovery I got when I was exploring Hawk Peak Provincial Park in a short hike. Check out my video on that. Another thing this game does really well is pacing. Each area you go through only takes 5 to 10 minutes, so the new environments keep everything moving along nicely, and there wasn't any padding at all, which a game like this can't afford to have. The story has you enter these dreamlike void sequences after each area where you save an animal's ghost or something and help restore life to that area. It's vague for a while until you encounter this dystopian underwater pyramid that's killing all the wildlife in the previous area and presumably the whole ocean. You have to restore the ocean and defeat the evil pyramid. Saying that out loud sounds really stupid, and yeah, I never got super invested in the story and kept playing primarily for the visuals and soundtrack, though the story is serviceable. You end up swimming through the giant robotic pyramid and through a minefield of tiny explosive pyramids that I got absolutely wrecked by. And eventually you encounter the big pyramid. And then the shark you saved earlier swims in the pyramid's eye to try and kill it, but the pyramid ends up shocking you and the shark. Then you become more robotic yourself for some reason, and your shark friend dies, which was actually way more impactful than my lame robot clone dying because I actually saved him earlier, so I had a little bit of attachment towards him. Then you can walk? What?
Attention everyone! Run for your lives! Robots have taken over the world!
That's insane, dude. Maybe that's why the pyramid dude made you robotic. Who really knows, but I knew this game was a walking simulator. Next, you give some sort of offering or whatever to the spirit water orb who brings back your shark friend and makes you human again because God is amazing! Then you go around and destroy tiny evil pyramids with your shark friend, which is great for people with epilepsy. By destroying the little pyramids, it restores the parts of the ocean that were previously destroyed, and then the game is over and the credits roll. So, was this game worth playing for someone who's an outsider to the walking sim genre? I didn't regret my time with the game because of the visuals, music, and atmosphere. The story was decent even though I did make fun of it. It's not a bad story, I just got way more entertainment by pointing out all of its weirdness. The gameplay mechanics were just too boring for my taste since there wasn't anything deep enough that was worthwhile at getting better at, like moving or anything, since the game doesn't incentivize it, especially since the game's only 2 hours. Clearly this is the wrong genre if you're looking for deep gameplay mechanics, but the whole point of this video was to see if the walking sim genre is fun for outsiders to the genre. It obviously depends on the game, but if you're someone who gets really invested in a game's story, then the walking sim genre is probably for you. But if you're someone who's like, screw the story, let me play the game, then I'd say look for something else. Abzû had its moments that let me see the appeal of the genre a bit, but it's not a genre I'll be returning to simply because it's not a game for me. That's not a bad thing though, because if games don't branch out and try new things, then the gaming medium as a whole doesn't progress or bring in new players. It's great to have games like these that someone new to gaming won't get overwhelmed by, as well as having hardcore games like Go Vacation. Let me know down in the comments below if you have a favorite walking sim game, and thanks for watching the video, and if you liked it, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you can see more videos like it in the future.